were so eager to get into a war to stop Germany's meteoric rise to the top, beating both of them combined in almost every element of economic and technocratic success, that we got into the war. Didn't take the Archduke getting assassinated or automatic timetables of mobilization or whatever. Britain and France were utterly intent on war. When they came to the peace conference, they were utterly intent on continuing what they'd started with World War I, which is what Maynard Keynes really goes into in this book. And what that was, of course, was what they were trying to do with the actual war. That was restore their own empires. That's a very important phrase, restore their own empires, because Germany principally was threatening them majorly. So what did they do? They fashioned the peace so that 20 years later, they go back to that enterprise and try it again. Well, it failed catastrophically. Neither restored their empires. In fact, despite Churchill's valiant efforts to the contrary, they destroyed the biggest one of them, the British. Fast forward. Where is that situation relevant today? We are already in, mark my words, we are already in World War III. We're in the opening stages of World War III. And this war is going to be fought, and it will be fought, whether it starts in Southwest Asia, in the Arctic, or continues in Ukraine and spreads or whatever. It will be fought in order to stop the same thing Britain and France were trying to stop years and years ago, the overtaking of the American empire by China and its other friends. That's what we're involved in right now. The difference, the salient difference today and then, is we have nuclear weapons. This is a very, very dangerous World War III. And to have Trump in the chairman's seat, so to speak, is an utter disaster.
Yeah.
Shalom, shalom, Israel. First and foremost, I want to give all honor, glory, and praise unto YAHAWAH, Hashem, YAHAWASHI, Hashem, Rakwakwadosh. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone. Shalom to my Akim, who are diligently waiting to be delivered from this long captivity. This is Brother Kawakub coming at you with no lesson. Slakia. Today's lesson is going to be on this whole World War III thing. And first off, let's start off with this. Revelation chapter 11, verse 14. The second woe is past, and behold, the third woe cometh quickly. Now, one thing about people, I guess, if you want to take it from that perspective, all right, is that they don't really care, I guess, about all the thing that's happening around them. They think they are too fixated on the strength in Egypt. Now let's actually get that in Isaiah chapter 30, let's just start verse 1. Woe to the rebellious children, saith the Lord, and take counsel, but not of me, and I cover with the covering, but not of my spirit, that they may add sin to sin, that walk to go down into Egypt, and have not asked at my mouth to strengthen themselves in the strength of Pharaoh, and to trust in the shadow of Egypt. Therefore shall the strength of Pharaoh be your shame, and the trust in the shadow of Egypt your confusion. For your princes were, that's it. Down to verse 3. So basically, the strength of Pharaoh shall be your shame, and the trust in the shadow of Egypt your confusion. And basically what that means is how they have all this. Egypt is not in reference to Egypt, it's spiritually the house of bondage. The house of bondage. So in this context, it's Babylon, which Babylon is our bondage as of right now. So with that being said, us being in captivity, just like, by the way, might I add, let me actually see if I can find it, because I would love to get it. Die in Egypt. I searched that up before? Oh yeah, here. Exodus chapter 14, verse 11. And they said unto Moses, because there were no graves in Egypt, hast thou taken us away to die in the wilderness? Wherefore hast thou dealt thus with us to carry us forth out of Egypt? Basically, what they were saying with these niggas, okay, as in hard R, by the way. Basically, what they were saying was, you took us out of Egypt when we could have just stayed in Egypt and kept being the good little slaves for Pharaoh, rather than taking us out here to starve and die by YAHAWAH and His. That was basically what they were saying. They were being extremely disrespectful. When I first read this, I think 2 years ago maybe, I was already like, I just did not want to read this. I was already pissed off because this is some like grade A disrespectful shit. Like, I did not mess with them. Like, I basically saw why the Lord put so much hell on these jakes. Okay, and it basically, I mean, obviously it got better later on, partially, kinda, but at the same time, it's like from this time period all the way up to like King David, for as an example. After King David obviously went downhill, but from this period in Exodus to King David, it's like you have a bunch of Israelites that are just completely like stupid. Like they it's like they just don't think. They just can't think, basically. Like, they're actually just dumb. Anyway, continuing on. And Slaki, the thing is that all of them weren't dumb. Like, it was very few that actually were smart. That's why their numbers dwindled when they were killed by the Lord. But the Lord spared, the ones that actually listened, and then they all were born again, similar to the kingdom, how the kingdom of heaven is going to be. Anyway, that's another thing altogether. To continue on back to Isaiah 30, we were talking about the strength in Pharaoh / strength in Babylon, as well as that being their confusion and their shame. These people think, okay, yeah, Esau is always going to protect us. Esau is never going to lose a war and stuff like that. We're going to keep on living in this ugly ass, disgusting kingdom. When in actuality, even other Edomites, this dude, whatever the frick this guy's name is, I don't know who he is, was even saying that we are in fact in World War III. This is just for example, if you read the history books, it's been a long time since I studied on World War I and II, so I deadass don't even remember, and I never even cared about how World War I and II went, even though, funnily enough, that's irrelevant, but basically, I don't remember how it went, but obviously, there are some starting points that say, oh, this was the start of World War thing, where they know it retrospectively, but moving forward, we don't know. We don't see it as regular people. Maybe the actual people that are directly involved, directly causing all the stuff to happen, they might know it. But for us, we can only see what is out there, was out there, and that's the thing. That's another thing where even leaders are not supposed to be hiding what they're doing from the people. The leaders are supposed to be completely transparent about everything, but yet they are hiding stuff from us because even they know, which by the way goes into the thing, which funnily enough, I just saw that this whole Epstein stuff, they're trying to hide and sweep that under the rug because they don't want their president being found up for whatever degenerate thing that he did. All right, continuing on again, because I wasn't Obama and Hillary Clinton. I'm pretty sure I heard a story about a thing about Hillary Clinton and or Obama also being a part of that whole thing. But whatever, that's another story. But basically, the main thing is just how when the eventuality of the whole draft, all these different things start to be out in the forefronts, and the Babylonians are going to be afraid. They're going to think, oh, what's going on here? Like, I thought you guys had everything handled. All right, but in actuality, they never had things handled. 1 Thessalonians 5 verse 3. For when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them as shall fail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape. Okay, so that's the thing. People are thinking, oh yeah, we're peaceful, we're at peace, we're safe. This is the best time to be alive. By the way, that's a lie. Continuing on, they think that life is good for them, but in actuality, it's the start of the destruction of this kingdom. All right. So continuing on, Matthew chapter 24, verse 6. And ye shall hear wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. Verse. Let's just jump down to it says read 7 and 8 as well. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilence and earthquakes in diverse places. All these are the beginning of sorrows. And a precept to that actually is this 2 Ezra chapter 16 verse 18. The beginning of sorrows and great mournings. It is the beginning of famine and great death, the beginning of wars, and the powers shall stand in fear. The beginning of evils. What shall I do when these evils shall come? And basically the correct answer is you can't do anything. Okay, none of these people can do anything, and especially the Babylonians. But for us, let me get that actually, because I don't know why I don't have that. It's Isaiah 65 verse 13. By the way, one of my favorite verses. I actually love this verse. Isaiah 65 verse 13. Therefore thus saith the Lord Yahawah, behold, my servant shall eat, but ye shall be hungry. But behold, my servants shall drink, but ye shall be thirsty. Behold, my servant shall rejoice, but ye shall be ashamed. Okay, this goes to show all the flip flop and how things are going to be turned right side up. Okay, because during the time of the war, during the time of everything going south, during the time of things getting bad, okay, Slacky, especially like the draft, Slacky, especially with the draft, the elect, they're going to be exempt from it, and we still don't know, Slakia, we still don't know if the draft is going to include women or not. Okay, I genuinely don't know if they're going to try to just stick to only men, or if they're going to actually include women. But that's the thing about that. You can never truly know, because of how Esau just flips flop and changes stuff around. All right, changes like laws and stuff like that. All right, it might seem like no, it doesn't seem like that's gonna be the case, but you never know. You just never know. They might want more people dead, but in all honesty, I think, as a matter of fact, let me just get it. What was it again? It was okay. 2 Ezra chapter 16 verse 33. The virgin shall mourn, having no bridegrooms. The women shall mourn, having no husbands. Their daughters shall mourn, having no helpers. In the war shall their bridegrooms be destroyed, and their husbands shall perish of famine. And that's basically my reasoning as to why it might just be men, but you never know. There might be a small influx or a small demand for women as well, especially with this whole like gender equality, as well as the I was about to fuck up the alphabet community. All right, I think that might be a factor to include. I'll just say that. But yeah, and the thing is that Esau is just really trying to get rid of those people for the most part. That's kind of what it seems to be, like the whole liberal type-esque groups of people. Anyway, to continue on, there was or was it? Whatever, I think I'm done with this. Habakkuk chapter 2 verse 3. For the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come and not tarry. And that is the thing where the eventuality of World War III and all the prophecies coming to pass. That's what we're looking for. That's what we're waiting for. That's what we eagerly seek from the Lord. Okay, and this devil, talking about this and trying to warn his people more specifically, because he doesn't, obviously they don't care about us, but warn his people more specifically about what's going on. All right, we're over here watching this. Yes, I'm watching this. Okay, these brothers are making videos on these types of stuff. Oh yeah, that was another thing. Slakia. I forgot. It was Genius Act. What is it? I heard this Genius Act was implemented. I don't know, and I think this brother goes into it. Yes, he does go into the Genius Act. I don't know what it is. What is the Genius Act? Okay, it has 1% reserve backing with liquid assets like U.S. dollars and short-term treasury. It requires issuers to make monthly public disclosures. I think it has something to do with digital currency. I think that's what it means. Okay, I'm not going to spend too much time on this, but
imagine being able to.
I'm not going to spend too much time on this. I'm just going to let the video play for a little bit just to hear what they say, because I don't understand.
Victory lap today, signing into law the first ever major federal cryptocurrency legislation. It was passed by the House yesterday and the Senate earlier this week.
All right, so Slakia, it is a crypto/digital currency type bill. So let's hear a bit more.
With broad bipartisan support, the so-called Genius Act has been a key priority for the president, once a crypto skeptic who now bills himself as the most pro-crypto commander-in-chief in history and whose family business is building an expanding cryptocurrency empire, even launching a meme coin earlier this year. This bill regulates just one specific kind of digital currency called stablecoins, aimed at making them more accessible and more mainstream. Here's what Trump said earlier today when he was signing that bill.
And Slakia, that's the thing. He said meme coin, which DJT made a coin called meme coin. I kind of feel like that's just like an insult, or it's like a joke. Like it's kind of like, why would you use that name? Why not Trump coin or something like that? I think that just goes to show that it's not to be taken seriously, and it's really more of a trap. And I think the joke falls on the people that actually follow after them. But anyway, continuing on.
This is really a big day. This afternoon, we take a giant step to cement American dominance of global finance and crypto technology as we sign the landmark Genius Act into law.
We want to get right to ABC senior White House correspondent Selena Wang and Coinage host and financial reporter Zach Guzman. Welcome into you both. And Selena, why has the Genius Act been such a key legislative priority of the president's? I mean, at one point there was this question as to whether or not it would even get a vote in the House. It had this procedural stall, and President Trump, as he's done before, got on the phone and worked on holdouts. Why does he care so much about this?
Yeah, Jay, you know the president's strategy very well when it comes to members of Congress. But look, this is something that President Trump had campaigned on. He was once a crypto skeptic, then he vowed to make America the crypto capital of the world. And on the trail, he had also pushed Congress to take action when it comes to this. And you can see there in the room, the president was surrounded by a lot of top crypto executives. This is a huge win for the cryptocurrency industry. What this does is essentially it creates this regulatory framework for stable coins. These are a type of cryptocurrency that's more stable, hence the name, that's tied to a more stable asset like the US dollar. So the goal here is to make this more mainstream and to make this more accessible. But of course, this hasn't.
Okay, I don't know why this dumb bitch couldn't freaking be more simple in her explanation, but basically, which she could have just said this in 2 seconds, is that it is a digital currency that is supposed to be translated from Slakia. The translation is the US dollar into the digital currency. I think that's basically what she's trying to say. So I hate this whole filibustering and overcomplication of something that could just be said in a more simplistic way.
Come without controversy. President Trump and his family, they are all in on this industry. They've got several business ventures that includes a meme coin, a Trump meme coin, a Bitcoin mining firm, as well as a crypto.
And Slakia, you know what's funny is I was trying to be respectful. I was literally thinking to myself, okay, I'm not gonna say anything rude. I'm just gonna let them say whatever, and then I accidentally just called her a dumb bitch. But whatever, I don't care.
To a more stable asset like the US dollar. So the goal here is to make this more mainstream and to make this more accessible. But of course, this hasn't come without controversy. President Trump and his family, they are all in on this industry. They've got several business ventures that includes a meme coin, a Trump meme coin, a Bitcoin mining firm, as well as a crypto reserve. And there's a company that the Trump family has a 60% stake in, World Liberty Financial. And earlier this year, they issued their own stable coin. So some Democrats have been arguing that President Trump's family would directly benefit from this bill. Now, the White House has insisted that there are no conflicts of interest here.
Wow. So he's direct, and that's basically what's been going on. Actually, I have Slakia heard about that, where he owns his own cryptocurrency. So people, if that is a part of the thing, everyone's going to be putting their money in towards crypto and his meme coin, so he's going to get more money, and he's going to just like it just like, that's just kind of crazy. I'm not gonna lie, that's pretty wild.
That his assets are managed by a trust, one that's managed by the president's children, Jay.
So, Zach, in Washington, D.C. here, there have been crypto ads pretty much block by block from different firms. I work on Capitol Hill every day, as Selena said. I'm only guest hosting in this chair. And there have been an army of crypto lobbyists on Capitol Hill in the last few weeks. If you didn't know any better, you would think this bill was about all crypto everywhere under the sun. But it's not. It's just about stablecoins. So why does this bill have such fervor across the industry? What does it mean for the industry?
Why is this nigga like smiling like that? Like, I hate when people do that. Like, what is he like trying?
Well, it's not just the stablecoin bill that we saw get passed. It was that one, and also the Clarity Act made it through the House. I think, the reason why all of crypto kind of came together on this one was very much to see progress. President Trump has promised that this would be, the birth of the crypto capital of the world, but didn't have much to show for it. So this one finally getting across both chambers and having Trump signing this one, I think is fairly important to show that the crypto industry can get down to DC and sell people on this no longer being an industry or a business that is negative for Americans or for business here in the U.S.
Is the goal in the crypto industry to encourage more regulation like this in order to try to make crypto more mainstream?
I think, even just as recently as right before President Trump came into office, there was a real fear among builders in the U.S. that this industry was going to be killed if SEC Chair Gary Gensler and Democrats in the White House would be able to have their way. I think now we've reached the point where the industry just wants to be able to experiment, wants to be able to show people this technology can make things more efficient, potentially also be used to help maximize the dollar in America's dominance around the world. Right now, we're seeing people in Latin America start to use stablecoins to get access to dollars. We're seeing stablecoin issue buy U.S. debt and hold that. Tether, the largest, is now holding more U.S. debt than the country of Germany. So this is a very quickly growing industry and potentially could unlock new ways for President Trump and really Congress to start to pull levers and help the standing of America grow around the world.
All right, so basically it's supposed to be a method to have some more leverage in terms of other nations' currency, I guess. Again, I think this dude was worse than the woman, because I was understanding kinda what he was saying, but it's just kind of like all jumbled, whatever. I don't know. Maybe I'm just shooting myself in the foot by talking.
We heard Zach just mention there the Clarity Act. That was another piece of crypto legislation that the House passed. That hadn't already been passed by the Senate, so it's got to go back to that chamber. It's got to go to that chamber to be voted on. But what's in that bill?
Yeah, so this is more expansive. This is about a regulatory framework for cryptocurrencies more overall, and it really shifts power away from the Securities and Exchange Commission and puts more control with the Commodities Future Trading Commission. Now, you heard Zach reference this as well, but the whole industry is sort of celebrating this pivot away from the Biden administration's SEC that took a very hardline approach to the cryptocurrency industry. President Trump at that event earlier today, he was praising Paul Atkins, a new SEC chair who has taken a much friendlier approach to the industry. And there is another bill as well related to this, and this one would ban the Federal Reserve from creating its own digital currency. Now, we have seen other countries around the world, their central banks start to...
Oh, wow. She said there was a bill to stop the Federal Reserve from creating, but the thing is, like, why is it that they want to create their own digital federal currency so that they have more control over it? And then, I don't know, it's like, I guess they're like pseudo trying to pretend like they're trying to make these safeguards so that the government or whatever doesn't have full control over it. But in actuality, that is ultimately what's going to happen. By the way, I take back what I said. She actually does a better job at explaining. I feel like she did a better job at explaining things. So my bad.
To experiment and explore creating their own digital currencies. Some crypto advocates and Republican members of Congress are deeply concerned about the privacy implications of that.
Some of those Republican members concerned enough to, at one point, hold up passage of the bill to get concessions out of the White House over a central bank digital currency. Selena Wang, Zach Guzman, thank you both very much.
All right, so yeah, basically you heard all that. That's what's going on right now. We are just gonna wait, because that is going to be a part of what the MOTB is going to be when they have digital currency. They can just create it out of nowhere, and if they have control over it, and if they expand their reach, it's like if they expand their reach to these other nations as well, then of course it's going to be like, okay, well, everyone's going to have to take it. Well, yes, everyone's going to have to take it, but also at the same time, everyone's going to have to, what's the word? Everyone's going to have to face that dilemma of, are you going to take the MOTB or not, and whatnot, as well as still being under the boot of Esau. But with that, I pray this lesson was edifying. I want to give all honor, glory, and praise unto YAHAWAH, BaHashem, YAHAWASHI, BaHashem, Ruach, double honor to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, Abad Bal, and Shalom.